Hi, I'm Thibaut De Lataillade, General Manager at GetApp, and as part of our Rebuilding Your Small Business series, we are interviewing expert contributors to offer practical business advice about how to improve the overall customer journey. For those who don't know, GetApp helps businesses like yours discover and compare great software. And today, I have the honor to interview John Lawson, best-selling author of Kick-Ass Social Commerce for E-Prenuers and CEO of ColderICE Media, a consulting agency helping small businesses with online sales, marketing, and content creation. Hi, John. Before we start, I'd like to ask you to share with our audience your own experience of being an entrepreneur and running a business.
Sure. Basically, I am that quintessential kitchen table entrepreneur. I started my business completely out of need because I was about to go bankrupt over a really bad real estate deal. And I decided to start selling used ebooks on eBay. That's how I got started. And my business grew so much in the first few years that we were invited as early beta testers for the Amazon third-party seller platform back in 2005. So for more than 20 years now, I've been both a marketplace, Amazon-type eBay seller, and a direct-to-consumer business with my own website at shoestringking.com.
During the last year, we saw how pandemic restrictions forced brands to pivot from traditional marketing tactics. What are the most striking examples you saw in action?
You know, what's crazy is what was expected to take e-commerce 3 to 5 years to get to adoption happened in a single year because of COVID and lockdown restrictions. Consumers ended up spending $861 billion online with US merchants in 2020. And that's up an incredible 44% year over year. 44% growth in 1 year. So it's been nuts in terms of the move to online commerce. And then smartphone shopping is now 45% of total US commerce in general. And I've seen some amazing things happen, and sure, in small business and also in the larger businesses like Nike has been using its website and shopping apps to release limited edition footwear. And if you think about when Nike would drop releases, you would have lines outside the malls. Well, the malls were closed, and Nike made that shift to doing that online and with their app. And it's transformed itself into a direct-to-consumer business when it was very, very dependent on retail prior to now. So even today, Nike is limiting the number of people who can come into their stores to help with the restrictions in COVID. But when people now do visit the Nike store, they're not coming to just look around and browse. They're coming with the intent to buy. And it can be the same with your small, medium business.
All right. Okay. And so a couple of years ago, you made some bold predictions about social commerce. Can you explain what it is and what businesses should do to jump on these trends?
Absolutely. As the name implies, social commerce is the process basically of buying products directly on social media platforms. $89 billion right now. It's an $89 billion industry, but it's projected to grow to over $600 billion in annual spend. And 35% of consumers, 35% of business owners said that the pandemic helped them focus on their business with e-commerce. And 19% said they had never done e-commerce before. So this is their first time in this field. And many of them said if it wasn't for e-commerce, they would have had to shutter their doors, right? So the deal is e-commerce, and I'm going to be a little contrarian to what other people say. I don't believe social commerce is a subset of e-commerce. E-commerce is actually a subset of social commerce because all commerce starts socially. Right? You can go into any third world country and you will find in the center of that country a community of sellers and buyers or people that will trade. There will be trade in the center of pretty much any civilization. It's part of social. So social business is the top level, and e-commerce is a subset of that. Social media helps us to do those things online using tools like the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the Pinterests of the world. And 500 million people have used Instagram stories every day, and that number is set to go up. Instagram's added many different features like those stories, GIFs, stickers, background music, and so much more interactive features that are keeping people engaged on the platform. All right? And things like Pinterest, it's a social platform, but it's used by most of its users for lifestyle inspiration. And users go to that mobile app for, visual inspiration. And they had 459 million monthly active users, and it's up 37% year over year.
Okay. And so we are seeing many third-party marketplaces, such as, of course, Amazon or Etsy and many more, trying to make it easy for small businesses to build a store on their sites. Do you think that these are, it's a good channel for small businesses?
Marketplace selling has its perks for small businesses. The biggest is probably pre-existing audience, those consumers, thousands, millions, thousands of millions, millions of millions, hundreds of millions of shoppers that frequent these marketplaces. And your ability to set up a store on that marketplace is often faster, much easier than building out your own store, simply because the infrastructure is already there in place for you. Along with building your shop on these marketplaces, it also offers third-party sellers the ability to promote, advertise, and get in front of that marketplace's shoppers, giving you that ability to promote on places like Amazon, even Walmart, where there are more than 255,000 sellers on Amazon right now that are doing over 100,000 sales on that single platform. So it's got low startup costs, it's easy to set up, you get mass exposure, and that to me makes it kind of a no-brainer as an option for small business success online.
Yeah, I like that. Low startup cost, easy setup, and mass exposure. That's a recipe for success. So let's talk a bit now about the e-commerce tools. So what are for you the must-have features to support small business to succeed online? And do you think that different businesses require different features?
Absolutely. Businesses have websites that can be 100% unique to their brand. So it's all over the place when it comes to building out your website. But there are some basic things that you kind of need to be present in your design to help facilitate a better user experience and up your conversion with optimization. So one thing is it needs to be user-friendly. All right? Don't make me jump through a whole lot of hoops. Keep it simple. That's probably your best bet. It needs to be mobile optimized. Like we said about how much people are buying on mobile, but 61% of visitors to sites are now coming from mobile devices. So you've got to make it mobile friendly. I think you need flexible payment options with the growth of things like Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal's doing major innovations with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, right? Amazon's one click, the list goes on and on. There's so many options out there. The more you can give to your buyer, the better off your site's going to be. And if your site is limiting on these kind of options for payment, you could be missing out on some opportunity. And then finally, I think you need to have, or not finally, but one of the major things is customer reviews. You have to have that social proof that customer reviews gives. It gives credibility. Plus, it can actually improve your SEO ranking because you have more content on your page. Then make suggestions. Related items are a creative way for you to have an efficient experience for your shoppers, so they don't have to go around and look for stuff that's related to what they're buying. It's being presented to them right there on the page. Also, high quality photos. I can't touch it. I can't feel it. I can't smell it. All I can do is see a photo of it. You need to spend the extra $1.50 to make high quality photos. Definitely a good, important piece of online commerce. And then finally, I want to say this, you got to load faster. The faster your speed, the better off your customer experience is. And Google is counting that in their rankings. So you don't want anything to take more than 3 seconds to load.
Okay, that's great. So you mentioned that the more flexible payment methods, the better, which I absolutely agree on that. And so actually we also had a recent Gartner report that recommend that payment experience should be a strategic task, not just an operational one. Can you explain the role of digital payments play in the customer experience?
Absolutely. Digital payments liberate me as a consumer to interact and shop with vendors on the fly and have a really seamless transaction. The other day, I was hungry, saw a food truck, went up to the food truck, and he took the Cash App. That's a digital payment. Now he doesn't have to worry about carrying cash, and as long as I have the app on my phone, we can do our transaction pretty seamlessly. So taking that concept of a Cash App with the food truck to the next level, we have what is considered or called true MPOS, or mobile point of sale, which mobile point of sale technology is making a huge difference in the way payment is processed in retail small business by making it more streamlined, more flexible, and replacing that central checkout area with sales staff that's equipped with MPOS devices. So you get contactless payments. That's another great thing that's happening. And contactless payments, if you think about the environment we're in, everything's kind of like contactless has become a buzzword that people are gravitating towards because we are in a COVID period. So that kind of payment allows customers to simply just wave their device in front of the reader and payment is done. And then finally, biometric is coming. All right. Yes, you've got it on your iPhone or your other phone. You just touch and your fingerprint authenticates who you are. That is biometric authentication, and it's a verification method which involves things on people like fingerprint, facial recognition, iris scanning, even things as your heartbeat analysis, which, when we're wearing these devices now for our workout, it's taking down this kind of information on things that will be more able to tell who you are and authenticate who you are. And all of that is coming to payments in 2021 and beyond.
Yeah, that's future of payments for sure. That's great. So let's move on the customer journey. So once customers place an order and pay, many of them expect the same-day delivery. How can small business think holistically through the fulfillment aspects like delivery and returns?
Yeah, I don't think this is talked about a whole lot in the e-commerce space, and the late passing of Tony Hsieh makes me really think about his idea and how it transformed e-commerce in a massive way. When he decided to sell shoes on Zappos, he was so internally focused on the customer experience that they had an unparalleled commitment to satisfaction for customers. That translated into buyers being allowed to return shoes up to 1 year after purchase with no questions asked. 1 whole year, no questions asked. And guess who ended up buying that company? Amazon. And what happened is that ethos became part of the Amazon culture, from same-day delivery, which you get on Amazon now, to A to Z returns, which is pretty much that thing that Tony Hsieh was the producer of. So how does a small business compete with Amazon? You don't. You don't. That's like how just because you play basketball does not mean you have to compete with LeBron. You just don't do that. What you do is you start from your own customer experience and what they need and what they want. Customers need their expectations set. And then once you set the expectation, all you need to do is either meet or overcome them and surprise and delight your consumer. That's how you compete in this kind of world with Amazon. There's a robot on the back end of Amazon. It's not a person. And everybody knows that. So when they come to small businesses, they shop with us because they want the personal experience. So start with that in mind. That's the reason why they're here. Make it personal. And, if you want the same day experiences, there's a lot of options out there for you. You can utilize Fulfillment by Amazon as a somewhat hybrid drop shipping solution. That's not out of the question. Yes, it's going to cost you more, but the convenience has a fee. So you can store products in the Amazon warehouses and have them deliver locally for those really overnight and same day delivery. But also there's a lot of options growing right now for small businesses, services like Roadie and Bungie. They allow you to offer same day delivery with local pickups. And Shopify is right now in beta testing a fulfillment network. So the landscape is multiplying very rapidly for these kind of tools. And of course, good old USPS offers priority mail express overnight delivery guaranteed, 2-day delivery guaranteed. Often it ends up overnight depending on where it's at. So doing that is the first part for, fulfillment. And then on the backside, have a liberal return policy. What ends up happening with your return policy being liberal is it ends up increasing your conversion rate because it removes the risk of the buyer from the consumer and it transfers that risk over to you, the vendor, where it actually should be.
Okay, well, there are, lots of alternatives. That's now an option that SMB can leverage on payments, on also fulfillment, and that's great. But also on the what's important for SMBs is to select the right tool, and so to manage all of that. So how do you recommend they select the right software for their business?
Yeah, e-commerce has an E in it for a reason. And the reason is it's called electronic. So e-commerce success is all about your tech stack, right? You have to find the best tools, the best solutions, and then integrate all of that to wherever you're hosting. That's what, the e-commerce part is. So you can use sites like GetApp to find and compare tools based on your business requirements. And GetApp will actually assist you in identifying solutions that will integrate. And then you gain the access to like 1.23, over 1 million validated, which is important, peer reviews to assist you with making sound choices. That validation is what is the difference between somebody's just opinion and a verified opinion, because it's not somebody that is just, throwing negative reviews from the competitor. This is actually validated review information, and it's very valuable.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. So now let's assume that thanks to GetApp, you found the right software, and we found the right software to run our business. So what are your top tips to increase online conversions?
Okay, I'm going to give you 5 suggestions. 5 things, if you want success, make sure you have this, okay? High quality imagery. We already talked about that. Video as part of that imagery whenever possible will definitely help. Offer free shipping. I get it. There is no such thing as free shipping. I get it. There's always postage involved. But the deal is you can put that into the price and it will increase your conversion rate. Making people do math, not a good thing. They're not good at math, right? So keep it simple. Offer free shipping. Tweak your checkout processes for simplicity. We don't want any surprises in the cart. No surprises in the back end about fees or pricing increases that we didn't know about. improve your site speed and have it mobile responsive, and then make sure you have an abandoned cart sequence, because you want to recapture consumers that were already interested and turn them into buyers. So an abandoned cart sequence is very, very critical for your success.
Okay, I think I feel ready to launch my own e-commerce site now. Thanks.
All right.
So how do you consider augmented reality, virtual reality in the shopping experience?
Okay, you know what? I'm going to, again, contrarian here, VR, virtual reality. Oh, it's so fascinating. Yes, but the problem is for us as small businesses, I find virtual reality to not really be a reality. It's sort of a bridge too far. And the reason why is because, one, it's expensive to create an entire virtual world and program all that. And then the second thing, it actually requires the consumer or the end user to have expensive headgear. So in that realm, as far as I'm concerned, it's somewhat too restrictive for mass adoption at this point. Now juxtapose that with augmented reality, and now we're actually cooking with oil, because augmented reality is becoming more and more simple for small businesses to harness, and the only hardware you need is your cell phone, and everybody pretty much has one of those. So that puts augmented reality in reach for small business owners. And the use of augmented reality is absolutely endless in terms of, you come up with something, somebody can design it, and we're seeing this showing up in many use cases to create a pretty much unforgettable customer experience. So if you look at like Sephora, the makeup retailer, created an app for you to try on makeup on your face using augmented reality. So you can also try on glasses before you buy them at Zenni Optical. You can try on clothes with augmented reality on Stitch Fix, and Project Color from Home Depot lets you paint your room walls before you even go to the store to buy the color of the paint. So I kind of dig that. I'll give you a local, experience that I had. I went to a restaurant, my Mexican restaurant, my favorite restaurant, the other day, and hadn't been out to a restaurant in a long time. But they had a QR code on the table, and you scan the QR code, and that brought up a AR menu on your phone for ordering. And that was, again, I'm talking about it here. That's how unforgettable it was. So SMBs have an opportunity here. Doing AR projects are actually affordable. You can implement this stuff quickly, and there are people out there on sites like, Upwork that have templates that you can just ask for them to customize for your business to add some AR to many of your small businesses out there. So it's something that is within reach for small business as it is today.
All right, so I can understand you're skeptical about VR, but enthusiastic about AR. But finally, do you think that when you look at the overall trends that we discussed today, do you think that these trends are really here to stay, and will they continue to be amplified?
Yeah, man, look, the juice is loose. You can't put juice back in the box. And what's happening now is online is going to be and will continue to be a force that has really inspired a complete shift in the way consumers think and their behavior. And part of that, of course, is because of the restrictive movement during the pandemic. And as we transition out, the mindset will still remain. That juice can't be put back. So there's now a true hybrid between digital and physical shopping that has become more ingrained in people's everyday life. Welcome to 2021 and beyond.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for sharing your thoughts with us, John. That was, great and really helpful. And what I'm taking from our conversation today is that there are plenty of solutions for small businesses to sell online successfully, from social commerce, standalone platforms to third-party marketplaces, small businesses can now compete in the same league as big, well-known brands. So stay tuned for the next exciting interview. And in the meantime, if you'd like to share your opinion about the software you use, please leave a review on getapp.com and follow us on LinkedIn.